I've been listening on social media, and I've heard some things that kind of disturb me a little bit. There are people who are saying the world is flat. There's no such thing as unidentified flying objects, and that man never landed on the moon. And I'm sorry, but in my 86 years, I found that's not necessarily so. I would like to talk about man landing on the moon. There are those who say they didn't do it, but I would like to tell you the story from the point of view of people like myself who got up in the morning, ate my Wheaties, put 2 bologna sandwiches in my lunch bucket, along with a thermos of coffee, went to work, punched in and put in my 8, 10, or 12-hour shift, whichever is required, and went home and did it for 40 years. Boeing was awarded the contract for the lunar orbiter. In the early 60s, they built a high-tech facility in the Green River Valley in Kent, Washington. It contained a state-of-the-art high-speed computer. It also contained a large 40 by 50 feet vacuum chamber in which we put articles to test them to see if they could handle the rigors of space. What you are seeing here is an actual picture taken by the lunar orbiter. And what you're seeing now is the first ever picture of the Earth from the moon. General Motors designed the lunar roving vehicle. Boeing won the contract to build it. The pictures that you are seeing are different tests that we made to make sure that it would fold up and fit into the proper area within the landing vehicle. The lunar rover was powered with 4 1/4 horse motors. The tires were stainless steel mesh and stainless steel treads. The area that the astronauts could cover walking was about half the area of Central Park in New York City. The amount of area these 3 astronauts could cover was the size of Manhattan Island. The astronauts had a high-definition camera built by Hasselblad, and because there's no atmosphere, the lighting single source and very straight, which gave them good definition. You will have to excuse my puppy dog, Vaquita, but he wanted to help. The top speed of the lunar roving vehicle was about 8 miles an hour. The lunar rover vehicle that you see here is being ready to put in our vacuum chamber. You will notice that the fenders and the frame of the vehicle are painted white to help reflect sunlight. Part of my job was to operate and calibrate the A7000 solar simulator. It had a 7-meter or 23-foot diameter beam of light that was identical to the light it would see on the moon. The vehicle you see here with brown fenders is the same vehicle that you saw earlier with white vehicles. So why are they brown? Let me explain it to you now. One of my tasks was to every half hour go and observe the test through a porthole in the chamber. The first time I looked at it, I called my associate Ed over and said, Ed, the window, those fenders don't look right. He looked. He said, well, they look a little different, but I think it's just because of the angle we're looking. A little bit later, a half hour later, I went back and I said, Ed, come over and look at this. The fenders are not white, they are brown. Ed came over and looked in and said, OMG. Unlike the frame, which was aluminum, the fiberglass fenders did not conduct the heat away, so the paint evaporated. So that is how I know man went to the moon, because the lunar rover vehicle fenders are brown, and I helped make them that way, period. I am sure that people who hear this little story will say, it's a cute little story, but it doesn't prove anything. Well, I met these three gentlemen, was able to talk to them, even have my picture taken with them, and it convinced me even more that what I said and that man was on the moon, and no one can convince me otherwise. Everybody have a good day.